Welcome back to the Broken Shift, where nurses come to vent, process, and ask the question, is it me or has healthcare completely lost its mind? Today's story is brought to you by Reddit, aka the unofficial nurse break room of the internet. I was scrolling through RR Nursing, sipping my tea, and I came across a post that made me stop, blink twice, and say, oh, so we're just recycling our violent patients now? Cool. Let me walk you through this madness. So here's what happened. Straight from Reddit, a nurse is at work doing what we all do, trying to survive the shift, when a patient decides to go full WWE, kicks her in the chest, sends her flying back into a wall. She falls to the ground, then gets stomped multiple times in the chest and shoulder. Not light shove, not accidental swing, full-on attack. It takes several staff to peel this patient off of her. She ends up with shoulder issues, MRI showing tendinitis, fluid inflammation, physical pain. And let's not forget the mental side, hypervigilance, fear, trauma. A few weeks later, our Reddit nurse does the responsible thing and asks management, hey, what happens if this patient comes back here? If I know she has a warrant, is it a HIPAA violation to alert authorities? Reasonable question, logical question, bare minimum workplace safety question. Her manager, I'll get back to you. And like 99% of management promises, that callback got lost somewhere between, we value our staff and please complete your mandatory resilience training. No follow-up, no policy, no plan, just vibes. And because this is nursing, of course she keeps working. No light duty, no magic bubble of protection, just here's another assignment, good luck, queen. But this time, she does something most of us are guilted out of doing. She presses charges. Because the patient wasn't confused, wasn't out of it, and knew exactly what she was doing, a warrant is issued. The nurse goes back to work, still healing. And you'd think that's the end of the story, right? Oh no, we're just getting started. Fast forward. Our nurse is working charge at the end of her shift because, of course, the chaos shows up at the end, and she realizes that same patient, the one who kicked her into a wall, stomped on her chest, triggered a whole criminal case, is back on her unit right now. No, heads up. No. Do you feel safe? No, let's move her somewhere else. They just quietly slid her right back into the census like, room 12, assaulted staff, room 14, needs IV Zofran. And the nurse finds out by accident. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if your staff only finds out their attacker is in-house because they happen to notice the name on the board, that's not healthcare. That's negligence with a badge and an ID badge swipe system. She's understandably furious, and not just at the patient, at the fact that the hospital had the audacity to admit this woman back onto the same unit where she assaulted staff. Like, welcome back to the scene of the crime. How can we care for you today? Now here's where the Reddit update comes in. Our nurse comes back and clarifies, she's been a nurse for 10 plus years. Psych, MedSurg, SNF, LTC, so she's not new to violence. She's been assaulted many times over her career. This was the first time she ever pressed charges. Her manager, surprisingly supportive, they weren't even aware the patient had been readmitted because of the holiday week. They talked to leadership and find out in their state, it would be a HIPAA violation for staff to call in the warrant based on knowing she's admitted. So no, she can't just casually dial up the cops from the nurse's station like, hey, it's 4 East, your girl with the warrant is in bed 10 and her call light is stuck on. Legally, she can't be the one to turn her in. But here's what does happen. The patient has declined a lot health-wise. The nurse doubts the state will even pursue the charges now. She says karma is already doing its thing. And most importantly, she will not be assigned to that patient ever. No nurse, no tech, no direct care. And that boundary is the bare minimum. Let's zoom out and be a little petty for a moment, shall we? Because healthcare loves to say things like, we're a family, we care about staff safety, violence against nurses is unacceptable. But then they let the same violent patients return to the same unit, don't flag charts, don't notify staff, don't build policies to protect assaulted employees. It's giving. We support you until it affects census. We have entire systems to track falls, track pressure injuries, track hand washing compliance. But ask for a system that tracks. This patient stomped my chest and I pressed charges. Maybe don't room her across from me again. And suddenly it's, yeah, we don't really have a workflow for that. Why is it that if you yell at a doctor, there's a whole incident review, But if a nurse gets kicked into a wall and stomped on, it's, well, this is this is healthcare. It comes with the job. No, being tired comes with the job. Charting at 2 a.m. comes with the job. Violence should not come with the job. This story from Reddit is not rare. That's the problem. Look at the comments under that post, and it's story after story. Nurses who got assaulted and were expected to go right back in the room. Nurses pressured not to press charges. Nurses told it'll never stick when they try to seek justice. Nurses fired or retaliated against for standing up for their own safety. And yet, if you so much as raise your voice to a patient, you are the one under investigation. We are expected to take abuse, expected to be understanding, expected to chalk up violence as part of the job, while the system quietly whispers, because at the end of the day, that bed is revenue. And if that doesn't make your stomach turn, I don't know what will. Drop your experiences in the comments. If you're comfortable, share your story. You never know who needs to hear that they're not alone in this. Because stories like this one from Reddit aren't just nurse drama. They are workplace safety issues, legal issues, and mental health issues that healthcare keeps trying to dress up as resilience. No, you're not weak, you're wounded. And those are not the same thing. And before you go, if you want more real talk about what's actually happening behind the scenes in healthcare, the stories, the rage, the dark humor, and the truth they hope we don't say out loud, follow me on The Broken Shift on YouTube. New episodes, deep dives, and story breakdowns are coming. Because if they're going to keep breaking nurses, we're going to keep talking about it.